Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. I didn't get a whole lot done on the Cub this weekend. Yesterday, I went to an auction, a state auction. My neighbor is John Buck Wilkins. If you know the song Little GTO by Ronnie and the Daytonas, well, Buck is Ronnie of Ronnie and the Daytonas um, back in the 60s. And his mom is Mary John Wilkins. She is a very, very famous country gospel singer-songwriter. She did One Day at a Time and Long Black Veil are her two biggest hits that most people would recognize. She was also instrumental in getting Chris Stapleton um, to where he ultimately ended up being. I guess the story is that when Buck was a little kid, Chris Stapleton actually slept on their couch, on their living room couch, because he was trying to make it big. So anyway, they had his estate auction yesterday, so I was over there kind of watching all of his stuff go to auction. But yeah, otherwise, the biggest thing I've been doing this weekend is these frame extensions, right? And getting that so it looks nice, and so you're not going to be able to tell it was ever done. And I did a couple trials to get it right, and initially that whole piece was that long, but then I was like, well, that's too long, so I cut that one off, and then tried that one, and that was too long, so I cut that one off. And the thing that was making it too long is the front PTO motor. The little nut on the pulley was really, really close to this, and I need to have some clearance between this and that pulley so that I can do belt changes without having to take this whole grill off. And also I wanted to kind of have the bolt sort of centered up in here, and of course it needed to come down and mesh with the little console there. One thing that's kind of annoying, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do anything about it, is that there's that gap right now, because this whole grill, of course, is moved forward about an inch and a half. A thing I could do with it is I could sort of cut this straight up here, and cut that there, and bring this back a little bit, or I could just plate over the top of it. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that yet. I don't know what I'm gonna do about it. I may just cut this right here on both sides and just bring this straight back and re-weld it. Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do. This distance to this little bump right here isn't as long as the extension, but it will at least get it back so it's not sticking out like that, looking weird. So probably what's going to happen. Anyway, the other thing I did today, spent most of the time today, is getting this motor lined up. And like I had said before, the way I kind of went about that is I took this piece, and you see I got them 4 bolts on there. Those correspond with the 4 mounting bolts for the motor. And I turned down this little shaft that fits in there nice and snug and goes all the way through. Yeah, goes all the way through. And then that is 5/8 shaft, so that works with that coupler. And I actually used a solid coupler. I used a solid coupler to go between them. That way there'd be no, that way I would know where it is centered, and then just kind of fiddled with that, cut here, trim there, put some shims there, and ultimately came up with this spot. And got some little shims down there because I cut a little bit too much off, but that's okay. It's easier to add shims than go back and cut more. Trust me, because I know I did both. And something that's kind of cool that I could do is, if I got it in neutral here, I can put this little power supply on it and spin the motor up. I think my drive shaft's actually bent. I don't know, I'm gonna have to pull this drive shaft out and see if it's bent, but I think it might be. I'm not sure. Kind of weird, but so that's kind of fun. And then you can put it in first, and we can actually get wheel spin. Ooh. Or we can put it in reverse, and we can get wheel spin the other way. So that's pretty fun. I don't know. First wheel spin of an EV project is always kind of neat. The next thing on the agenda for me to do is I need to come in here and I want to cut some. You can see where I've got those lines, maybe you can. I've got some lines drawn down basically from here down to there, a straight line between those two. I'll cut some of that out on both sides, and that'll give me room for cabling and wires or whatever. I may actually cut more than that out. I may cut like a lot out of there, because then that way I can have room for hydraulics if I need to. Just basically cut more than I think I'll need, and if I don't need it, then I won't use it. But yeah, I need to have something. Need to have some space so I can run wires nice and tight, and hydraulics. So that's what I'll do. And then as soon as I got those cut out, then I'll probably come in and I'll trim the top of this off so that it meets with the top of this on both sides. So, you know, come out like a 1/2 inch from that bolt and then come down to right there, just so it's a kind of pleasing radius or angle. And then likewise on the bottom, I'll probably cut some of that off, because that does kind of stick down a little bit, so I'll cut a little bit of that out, just for some clearance. But that's it. And this little bit sticking out here, I'm going to leave that until I get the rest of this thing torn down, get the transmission out, and basically have a raw frame. And then I can just flip this whole frame over, do like maybe a cut. I can either cut this off and then clamp it, clamp it flat to that bottom frame rail, and then, just weld that corner in, or I can just kind of score it here with the angle grinder and then just bend it up, but probably just end up cutting it. But that's it. And I'll need to take this measurement and extend my mule drive a little bit so that all that stuff fits too. But yeah, kind of slow progress this weekend. But all right. I thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.